So Ron DeSantis has been, doing like a speaking tour and going different places, giving speeches, probably also raising money, because of course it looks like he's going to hop in the presidential race to try to take on Trump and become the GOP nominee. So he's in Staten Island, a place that is roughly 125% white and very super Republican, probably the most Republican portion of the city. And he goes on Fox News while he's there. And there's a couple things that are notable here. So the hosts are going to bring up, hey, you've been under fire. But they don't name Trump. They name others, but they don't name Trump. In fact, this happened on multiple shows where, they would bring up like, oh, you're under fire. And then they just would avoid naming Trump like the plague. Now, why is that? Well, we could talk about it in a little bit, but in summation, they're little bitches, right? We saw the internal texts that were released. We know how they really felt about the election being stolen. They knew it was all garbage, and they ran with it anyway because they're terrified of their audience, and they wanted to we care about ratings. So here they are talking to DeSantis. Now, they're going to let the game slip at the end, though, because look at how they treat him, what they say to him, and it shows you their true preference, let's say, in the 2024 primary.
Governor, you've come under a lot of incoming fire recently. Nikki Haley taking aim at you, Larry Hogan as well, the governor of Illinois, from your visit coming up here to Chicago. What's your reaction to some of those attacks?
Well, Lisa, if you're an office holder and you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs and not getting anything done, no one ever says anything. You can kind of just fly under the radar. But when you're out there leading, when you're out there setting the agenda, not just for Florida, but really for the nation, which we've done over the last few years, people see that, and the people that don't necessarily like that are going to respond accordingly. But I can just tell you, if people are not firing at me, then I must not be doing my job. And so I view it really as positive feedback.
Well, listen, you could get some positive feedback if you just stood up, turned around and said, hey, folks, I'm going to run for president. Just saying. You would wind up with a standing ovation right now. We'll give you 20 seconds.
Wouldn't you guys like to have that announcement on Fox?
It would be nice.
Of course we would.
Come on, Governor, I'm a Floridian. Help me out.
Wow. Embarrassing. Wouldn't it be really cool and great and stuff if you decided I'm going to turn around and say I'm running for president? Wouldn't it be totally hot if we were in a back room together and then you pulled your pants down and then I did some things? Steve Ducey, control yourself, bro. The other was like, I'm a Floridian. I voted for you. Brian Kilmeade is the only one there kind of being quiet. And I wonder if he actually has some sort of a relationship with Trump. I'm curious. And if that is the case, that would sort of partially explain why he's being a little more stone-faced about it all. But Ducey has been more critical of Trump than Kilmeade has. And you could kind of see it here where he's just like, please, please, rescue us. You're the chosen one. We do love you so, my dear. So, look, the fix is in. Certainly the Republican elites, in their heart of hearts, they want to line up behind DeSantis. They understand. They see the same things that annoy elite liberals about Trump are the same things that the elite Republicans are annoyed by, believe it or not. Namely, the crassness, the lack of a filter, the fact he's an asshole, the fact that he's unhinged. Honestly, I do think that even the January 6th stuff for the elite Republicans, they look at that and they're like, Even if I supported this guy and his policies, it's not worth destroying American democracy and getting rid of the peaceful transition of power. So I think the same things that sort of annoy elite liberals, annoy elite Republicans about him, and so they actively want an alternative. But this is we're sort of slowly but surely creeping towards outright DeSantis support here. They're still a little they're too soft on Trump still, but in their heart of hearts, you know what they want. And what I wonder is, will there be a hard shift at some point? But see, the issue is, and this gets back to those leaks that we just had from Daily Beast, because of the Dominion lawsuit, we learned that none of these people are sincere. Literally none of them. Tucker Carlson, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, they were all conversing behind the scenes and saying what all of us know anyway, right? The election wasn't stolen. These people are effing lunatics. They called out Sidney Powell in particular and a bunch of the other, Rudy Giuliani as well, basically saying, like, this stuff is batshit, man. This stuff is wildly incorrect, and there's no evidence for it whatsoever. They called Trump a, quote, demonic force. Tucker Carlson did that. And the gist of it is, they know he's full of it, but they saw their ratings took a hit. In the immediate aftermath of the election, when they called the election for Joe Biden, their ratings took a hit, and they went down. And there was even like a brief period where like CNN beat them or something. I don't know if it was just in the key demo or overall views for certain hours, but they freaked out over that. Tucker Carlson was freaking out about that and basically saying like, look, we might not like it, but we know what we got to do. We got to feed this slop to our audience. They have nothing but absolute disdain for the people that watch them. 100%. Because they admit, like, I don't want to do it, I don't believe it, but yeah, I got to throw some red meat to the base here and just tell them what they want to hear, because they were afraid of CNN doing better than them, Newsmax and One America News Network eventually eclipsing them, because they were more resistant to the Trump narrative, which of course was insanely bogus. This, it was totally stolen from me, it was rigged, look at Dominion, look at all the anomalies or whatever. None of that was true. They knew it wasn't true. So, but what you learn there is, and this surprised me to an extent, because I would have guessed they actually sort of believed the things they were saying. No, what they learned is this. This is what we learned. They go, which way is the wind blowing? And they go in that direction. So it's really like they're trying to ride the vibe of their audience. They don't view themselves as like leaders. Like, hey, I'm going to say what I think is true, and that's going to set the narrative and help you think. And like help you feel the way you think. No. They're like, what do they already believe? Let me pander. Let me pander relentlessly to them. And so it's interesting because this is the first time I've seen Fox News sort of openly like cuddle with DeSantis and play footsies with him and be like, sir, would you like me to powder your bottom? It's the first time I've seen it on this level, but I'm curious if it's almost like a little bit of a test, right? They're dipping their toe in the water. They're probably going to see how the audience reacts, and then they'll adjust accordingly. If the audience gives them a good reaction, gives DeSantis a good reaction, maybe they'll lean into it a little more, and then a little more, and then eventually, by debate time or whatever, maybe they'll be more outright pro-DeSantis, Because I can't imagine a situation where Trump goes so over the top in his attacks on DeSantis that they're put in a position where they have to defend DeSantis, and so you have all of right-wing media lined up against Trump, and Trump is a destroyer, so Trump will go right back at right-wing media, and it'll be a glorious civil war. But they might do that, or they might still play this role of like, we're just going to pretend like we're agnostic, even though we support DeSantis. We're scared of our audience because they support Trump, so we'll just walk on eggshells and act like agnostic. That is definitely a possibility as well. Honestly, I really can't wait to see. I know this is a political nerd type deal, but I really can't wait to see. Because all of the hosts want DeSantis. They all want DeSantis, but they're terrified of their pro-Trump audience, so they feel like they're in a pickle. It is funny to watch them struggle in real time and work this out, Look, I got a solution for all of them. For any of them that are listening, any of them that are paying attention, which is roughly 0 of them. You could try this wild thing called being authentic and telling people what you actually think and letting the chips fall where they may. But I know. You guys got your multi-million-dollar contracts. You're not trying to risk that. You're trying to be as safe as humanly possible, right? So that's why their default go-to is like, let's just dump on the Democrats and the left all day long, and then everybody in the audience will like it. So they're just trying to be safe. It's funny, man. It really is a stark reminder, not to suck myself off too much here, but like just having a show and just covering the stuff you find interesting and saying what you think, that's actually super rare. Everybody's got an angle or got a thing, and clearly in the case of Fox and probably many others as well, they're going like, yes, where's the wind going? Okay, now I know what I got to do. It's rarely just like, this is actually what I think. So, proud of my simple process of just telling the truth as I see it. Apparently, it's very rare. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.